If an event center is in, Howard would be out. The Sioux Falls School District reacts to the proposal. Plus, see regional building size comparisons at 6.
The Korean War.
Live from Keloland Television, Keloland News at 6.
It's a legacy, and it's where the Sioux Falls School District, as well as many of the local colleges and universities, have played their football games for a number of years.
Wasn't considered an option 3 years ago, but now the Sioux Falls School District is thinking about leveling Howard Wood Field to make way for a community event center. Good evening. If a recently formed group of community leaders has its way, construction of an event center in Sioux Falls could be closer than city officials ever expected.
The group's 12 members, including Mayor Dave Munson, Sanford Health President Kelby Kravenhoff, and Superintendent Pam Homan, are calling the building a coliseum. It would cost between $100 and $150 million and seat between 14 and 20,000 people. But as Keloland's Matt Belanger explains, the latest plan would require Howard Wood Field to be destroyed.
That's right. In the proposal, the new Coliseum is located north of the Sioux Falls Arena and Convention Center right here. And you can see Howard Wood is just over to the west right here. But the plan would require developers to tear down Howard Wood to make room for more parking around the center. And right now, leaders in the Sioux Falls School District say they're open to this idea. Howard Wood Field has been a staple of sports in Sioux Falls for decades. But if you look closely at the recreational relic, you'll see it's starting to show its age. 50 years of use have taken their toll, leaving behind weathered, warped wood, broken blocks, and crumbling concrete.
If you've been out there lately, you'll see where we keep replacing like a step here, a step there.
Superintendent Pam Homan says restoring the grandstand would cost the school district about $6 million. And that doesn't include millions of dollars in upgrades that need to be made to the press box, which the district simply can't afford on its own.
I do appreciate this group's vision to say if there's a time to have a discussion, it might be the best time now.
Homan says discussion about taking down Howard Wood to make room for an event center is in its very early stages. But she's open to any proposal that supports the best interest of the school district and the community.
The event center would be encompassing of indoor football, so it would be a matter of the football games that were held, and what we all know today as Howard Wood Field would be held within that event center.
Still, there's something to be said about all of the victories celebrated and lessons learned on this famed field. Homan says the memories made at Howard Wood will need to be an important consideration as they look at removing a piece of the city's past.
Event Center in Des Moines for $217 million. It added on new buildings to existing ones, which are all connected by a skywalk system. The Wells Fargo Arena, built in 2005, sees between 15 to 16,000 people for sporting events, with nearly 17,000 for concerts. Last year, Omaha did a $5.7 million seat expansion to the Quest Center. It added 1,500 seats to the arena for a total of 18,500 seats. The Quest Arena seats up to 16,000 people for sporting events. Its initial cost was $291 million. By comparison, 15 years ago, the Fargo Dome in Fargo, North Dakota was a bargain at nearly $80 million. For concerts, the Fargo Dome seats 28,000 people. For sporting events, it has a capacity of 19,000. Rapid City is in the process of building a new $22 million arena onto the Rushmore Plaza Civic Center. It'll double the capacity of the Civic Center, which currently seats 10,000, and is scheduled to open next year.
All right, let's turn our attention to our weather. It sounds like we are going to crank up the wind machine once again. Here's Chief Meteorologist Jay Trobeck.
We sure are, Don, although it will be a southerly wind to start the day tomorrow, so that strong wind will help to warm us up. Take a look at what's going on right now. It is a warm day and a warm evening across the area. Temperatures are still in the 40s to low 50s. Today was another one of those above average days. We do have the high clouds starting to move in from the northwest, and the veil of clouds will overspread the area tomorrow, but not enough to cut off our heating. Overnight tonight, lows in the 30s, a very mild night. Then for tomorrow, a windy, mostly sunny 62 in Sioux Falls with a breezy southwest wind, 60 Aberdeen, 65 in Pierre, 56 in Rapid City, although the winds will be very strong in western South Dakota out of the northwest. and those northwest winds will cool us down for the rest of the week. I'll tell you about that in just a few minutes.
Growing pains in Harrisburg have stretched the supply of water thin for the 3,000 people living there. But as KELO's Luke Evans shows you, the Lewis and Clark pipeline will soon be coming to the rescue.
2 years of dry summers have forced lawns in Harrisburg to go without water, and that's frustrated some in this growing community.
My lawn went dormant, basically.
Water and Sewer Commissioner Justin Pfeiffer says Harrisburg currently has 4-inch water pipes, which are not nearly big enough to supply his growing city. But construction keeps bringing the Lewis and Clark Regional Water Pipeline closer, which will make the water worries a distant memory.
Every time I drive down a cliff and I look down 85th Street and I see, you know, those big blue pipes coming in, I get pretty excited.
In the spring, the pipeline will head south along the railroad tracks connecting to the city. The diameter will be 16 inches, quadrupling the size of the current pipes. The project should be finished in July of 2008, but there is one snag. Lawsuits filed against the Lincoln County rural water system must be resolved before water can flow through all the new pipes headed to Harrisburg. But Pfeiffer says he is confident there will be no delay.
Honestly, I don't ever think about it because for us, the 16-inch line is coming, and so when those entities work out that lawsuit, you know, all that we care about in Harrisburg is that we get water.
For drinking, bathing, and bringing color back to lawns next summer. In Harrisburg, Luke Evans, KELOLAND News.
South Dakota is just a few weeks away from finding out whether TransCanada can build an oil pipeline through the state. A hearing next month will decide its fate, and tonight we begin our special report on the project. Reporter Ben Dunsmore and photojournalist Brian Cooper spent 5 days in Alberta, Canada, to give you a closer look at Canada's growing oil industry and the impact it could have on South Dakota. We begin tonight with a look at why Canadian oil is different than any oil in North America.
Angela, TransCanada's pipeline project is being fueled by the increased production of petroleum from what are called the oil sands in northern Alberta. Now they're called the oil sands because the oil is actually mixed in with the sand and the soil, and the process is more complicated than just sticking a well in the ground and pumping the oil out. From a distance, it looks almost exactly like rich black South Dakota farm soil. But take a closer look at what these machines are digging out, and you can see why these grains of sand are so valuable.
And then on top of that, in the spaces in between, the oil is packed in.
Oil packed right into the sand and dirt, something that has naturally been a part of the northern Alberta landscape for decades.
It's a very sandy-like oil material that's probably about 15% in the good case, maybe down as low as 6 or 7% oil, mixed in with the sand in the second place.
And unlike the traditional oil drilling process, this takes massive machines. One scoop of that bucket back there holds 100 tons of the sand they extract the oil from. The oil sand mixture is found about 200 feet below the surface. Once it's dug out of the ground, it's dumped into tumblers and water is added to start the process of separating the oil from the sand.
And so what happens is when they mix it with water and shake it up, it's a lot like Italian salad dressing. And so what happens is the sand floats to the bottom, the water goes to the middle, and the oil floats to the top, and they can skim the oil off of the top.
That heavy oil is then refined to a light crude oil that can be shipped through pipelines to refineries around North America. Now, since the process of extracting the oil from the ground is more complicated than traditional oil drilling, it's also more expensive. Tonight on KELOLAND News at 10, I'll explain why northern Alberta has been hit with a boom of oil sands development over the past 10 years and why this way of mining oil is now considered a reliable source of energy.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ben. Veterans Day allows the country to pause and recognize those who served in the armed forces. But for a Watertown woman, it's a day that fits in well with what she does all year long. KELOLAND's Eric Schaffhauser shows you how this Desert Storm vet does her part to say thanks.
Kat Weaver sits in front of her sewing machine, threading a needle, cutting string. There's one thing on her mind.
I just want to thank all the veterans that are out there. Whether you were in war or not, or peacetime or not, you know, they served.
And so she thanks them, one embroidered shirt at a time.
It's hard to thank them enough for what they went through. And so it's just my way of saying thank you.
The machine she uses to make the shirts was expensive. The price she charges for her work is nothing. But a veteran herself, Weaver knows how much each one deserves.
And what is a t-shirt? $4 and a half an hour of my time. That's nothing to thank these people.
Many of the shirts she donates say, "Got freedom? Thank a vet," a slogan she lives by to give back to every man and woman who served.
Thank you. You know, thank you. Even if they weren't in a war or anything, this is time away from their families. Okay? This is time that they spend sometimes away from their country.
And time spent in front of a sewing machine, she says, is nothing compared to that. In Watertown, Eric Schaffhauser, Keloland News.
Weaver began sewing her thanks less than a year ago and has made around 200 t-shirts.
A windy, very warm day tomorrow, and then things change. We'll have your week's forecast next.
Could you feed yourself on $21 a week? Could you feed a family of 3 with healthy meals on $63?
Jane Andrews puts the food stamp challenge to the health test in tonight's Health Beat coming up.
When seconds count, trust Keloland Live Doppler, brought to you by Sanford Trauma 5 and Keloland TV.
Here we are, the second week in November, and the question everybody's asking the weather guys around town is, where's the snow? And one reason they may be asking that is, by this date last year, Sioux Falls already had 2.4 inches of snow, and Pierre had a couple inches of snow, and Mitchell had about an inch of snow, and here in Watertown about ½ inch of snow. Well, it's just plain warm, and we really don't see any huge systems on the way. In fact, looking at this week, one more super warm day for tomorrow. As mentioned before, warm and breezy in the east, windy in the west, most places in the 60s. In other words, close to 20 degrees warmer than normal. But a front does come through, and behind that front, Wednesday through Friday, looking dry. High temps falling back through the 40s, in other words, approaching where they should normally be for the second week in November. And then looking ahead to the weekend, we do see an increase in clouds, and there will be at least a chance for some rain or snow, a little something coming through that we'll be watching, and you'll see that in your extended forecast in just a couple minutes. Temperatures right now at our weather nets, and remember these update every few seconds. They're mostly as schools around the area, and we're still warm in Rapid City. 59 degrees at Thomas More School, 51 Pierre at Georgia Moore School, and here in Sioux Falls, looks like it's going to be a very warm rest of the evening. We're at 49 right now at Patrick Henry. Temperatures even at this hour are above our normal temps for this time of year. Let's take a look at our sky cam from Mitchell this morning. You saw those thick clouds we started the day with, but then they thinned out during the afternoon, letting the sun shine through. And in Sioux Falls, this is our mall cam. You see perfectly blue skies this afternoon, but the other thing about our afternoon weather, the air was extremely dry, which is why we didn't get any rain or snow or anything in Sioux Falls out of those clouds this morning. You do see the dew point was only 16 this afternoon, and the humidity just 22%, which is very dry. That's like wintertime dry air, but at least it gave us the nice blue sunshine after those clouds did sink to the south. We did get a couple sprinkles, places like Tyndall down to the south, but most places stayed dry today. Now we do have these mainly high clouds starting to move in from the northwest, and that's the cloud cover that will affect us for tomorrow. Today's high, 55 in Sioux Falls. That's 11 degrees warmer than normal, and with strong south winds, we actually made it to 62 in Rapid City. Your future scan forecast showing the cloud cover. Tomorrow morning, Sioux Falls starts with sunshine, then those high clouds start to come in from the northwest, and that's what we'll see during the day. These are thicker, lower clouds coming in tomorrow evening, and that's the main cold front. After these pass, a wind switch to the northwest, and it starts to cool down. Here is the Keloland Live Doppler forecast for your area. For Sioux Falls, a mild overnight, low temp around 31, and then with those mostly sunny skies, just the high clouds coming in, we'll top out at 62 with a strong southwest wind, 15 to 25. Aberdeen, breezy as well, with a few more clouds out there. Southwest breeze, 15 to 25. For Pierre, we'll see a high temp of 65 with the lower clouds coming in with the front. Northwest winds 20 to 30 miles an hour by late in the afternoon. And Rapid City, you're under that wind advisory we were telling you about. Northwest winds 25 to 40, and as a result, a high of just 56 degrees. The 7-day outlook for Sioux Falls, Wednesday, a high of only 50. There's that cool air behind the front. 47 Thursday, 43 Friday, 45 Saturday, and then that chance for rain or snow or both Sunday and Monday. Timing issues still to be worked out in the computer models, but we'll put it in for late in the weekend. Aberdeen's high only 46 by Wednesday, 42 Thursday, 40s into the early part of the weekend, and then you do see that chance of rain or snow Sunday, Monday. For Pierre, we'll cool it down to 50 by Wednesday, 49 Thursday, Friday, and the chance for rain or snow Saturday and Sunday, and lots of clouds on Monday. And Rapid City, pretty much the same story, chilling down to 47 Wednesday, then rebounding a bit toward the weekend with that chance at least for some precipitation.
All right, well, in Keloland, winter temperatures continue to be warmer than in years past, but what about the snow?
Meteorologist Scott Muntz looks at the past decades.
While recent winters have been warm, they haven't been without snow. This graphic shows our average snow per decade since the 50s. The snowiest decade was in the 90s, with an average of 46 inches. The least amount of snow fell in the 70s, with an average of about 33 inches. Average temperatures were also low. In fact, a number of record-low temperatures were set in the 70s, making it one of the coldest decades on record. Cold air doesn't hold as much moisture as warm air, so it's harder to get snow. So far this decade, Sioux Falls has received an average of 42.6 inches. The most snow we saw was in the winter of 2000-2001 with 57.9. The least amount of snow was in 2004-2005 with 27.4. How will this winter fare? I'll have your snowfall prediction later this week. For Keloland Weather, I'm meteorologist Scott Muntz.
Look forward to it.
Well, in an effort to raise awareness about hunger, the Community Food Bank is asking people to take the food stamp challenge.
And it's a test to see if you could eat for a week on what the government provides for food stamps. Jane Andrews has a twist on this challenge in tonight's Health Beat next.
At today's level of production of just over 1 million barrels a day, that's over 400 years worth of reserves.
Canada has the second most oil reserves in the world. Coming up tonight at 10, I'll tell you why these oil sands in northern Alberta have an impact on you in Keloland.
Each week, 61,000 South Dakotans wait in their grocery store checkout lanes, prepared to pay for their purchases with food stamps.
The average South Dakota family using the program is about 3 people and at $21 per person per week. Jane Andrews shows you in tonight's Health Beat, stretching that food dollar and eating healthy can be a challenge.
We decided to accept what's being billed as the Community Food Bank's Food Stamp Challenge by purchasing 1 week's worth of food for an average family of 3, spending around $63. But we decided to take the challenge one step further and see how healthy we could eat on the government's dime.
Anyone who's been through a grocery store lately knows it costs to eat more healthy. After all, things like produce and protein are among the most expensive items on the shelves.
We want to make sure, that they're buying nutritious foods and that they're shopping at stores where they're getting the most amount of food for their food stamp dollar.
So armed with the average allotment of food stamps for a family of 3, we asked registered dietitian Teresa Beach to plan for and buy a week's worth of healthy meals.
Overall, they're balanced. All of them have a starch, a protein, a fruit and or a vegetable, and milk is included with that.
The menu includes everything from meatloaf to chicken and rice casseroles, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But can it be purchased with just $63 in food stamp money?
I thought I could get close, but as we were going through and then milk prices, are higher, I was thinking, oh, I don't know, I think I'm going to go over.
A food stamp was meant as a supplement to your food stamp budget, and it's not meant to be the total food source.
Beach's cart includes such staples as milk, eggs, and bread, but you won't find room in the budget for pop, chips, or snack foods.
If someone's running consistently short, we want to try to help them to stay within their budget so they can provide for their family.
What Beach provided was a total of $64.23, over budget, but only slightly, just $1.23 too high.
I think the biggest challenge is making sure you can cost compare things and not always just grabbing what you see right off the bat.
Bottom line, it is possible to eat healthy on the government's dime, only you have to do your homework first.
Hey, thanks, Jane.
Good thing to be aware of. Well, it's time once again for the University of Sioux Falls football squad to head off into the playoffs.
And with a new place to call home, the Cougars are looking to get back to the promised land of the NAIA football. Tony Burns has more next.
Local instant weather information when you need it on Keloland.com.
For the 13th time in the program's history, the University of Sioux Falls will make an appearance in the NAIA National Tournament. The Cougars, who captured the title last season, are hoping to make it back-to-back championships for the first time in school history. Now, despite ending their 2007 campaign as the nation's top-ranked squad, USF annually participates in a bidding process to secure the right to host playoff contests. But now that the 10-0 Cougs have a place to call their own in Bob Young Field, the emphasis on home playoff games is a top priority.
Eric, I wanted to make a statement about our university and about Sioux Falls, about the great football atmosphere that resides in this town. And I think it'd be a great deal for us to be able to continue to host playoff games.
Now, to open up this year's playoffs, the Cougs will face a squad that they're not unfamiliar with in Northwestern Oklahoma State. The Rangers have won 2 out of 3 matchups all time against USF, including a 2003 win in the NAIA semifinals.
You know where some of their guys have come from, and several of their players have been on Division I rosters. So we know at some point they're definitely talented guys and probably have a lot of speed. And just looking statistically at what they've done has been very, very impressive.
Now, this, of course, will be the first ever playoff game played out at the brand new Sanford Health Sports Complex. Kickoff at Bob Young Field is scheduled for Saturday at noon out at 69th and Cliff. Final look of your forecast is next.
All right, sounds like we're going to be a little on the windy side again.
That's right, especially western South Dakota. Wind advisory, Rapid City and I-90, and a high wind warning in the northwestern corner of South Dakota. Windy in the west, breezy in the east, but very warm again tomorrow.
That's our time. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you at 10.